Hey everybody, welcome back to Family Firearm Reviews. Kyle here, and today we're going to check out the Sar B6. Now this is the CZ75 clone. Again, this is going to be the closest to the base 75 model that we can get, and this is the base of their line here with Sar. Now they do have a couple other steps that go up, but they are very similar to this, but this is a great value for that $300 price mark. So let's get down onto the table. Now that we're down on the table, we're going to dive into the Sar USA. We're going to show what it comes with. We're going to go through some of the features, kind of up close and personal with the firearm, and check some weights here. So let's get into the box. So you hop into the box, you do get your normal gun lock right here. It says Sar USA on it. Put that off to the side. We do get a nice user's manual, and the user's manual goes across a lot of the different firearms in this line. So as you can see, the B6 is right here at the top. This is pretty much the budget-ended one, the cheapest one in this line, but it goes all the way through these different firearms. It shows you disassembly. It gives you cleaning instructions. So it's actually very informative and a very nice manual. It gives you a lot of good information in here. It also shows you some of the stuff for the other firearms, what you could look at if you wanted to upgrade, what those models would look like and be like too. So to stick that off to the side, we do get our cleaning brush right here off to the side. It's just a soft brush. We don't get anything, aggressive. So that's one thing. We don't get the loop with this one. It didn't come with it, and I did buy this brand new. We do get one steel mag right here. And then we get our other 17 round mag is in the firearm. So we're going to show here, it's out. There are some stripper cuts right there. It's marked down to that 17 round mark. We'll stick that off to the side, and we will show clear on our firearm. Make sure we know we're clear. We're good to go in that area. And we're going to move the box off to the side, start getting into the firearm. So as I move that box, now we get in. Again, firearm is clear, nothing in the chamber. We're good to go in that nature. We do get two steel 17 round magazines here. So we do get some durable magazines that are going to be able to take some abuse out there. You've got a nice red follower. So when you look down in the chamber, whenever you do have these in there, you can see very easily, you can see that red, know that you're out of rounds or unloaded, then you can check the chamber and then remove the mag very, very easily. Now if we're looking at the firearm, we have a barrel length right here of 4.5 inches. We have an overall length of 8.1 inches. We have an overall height of 5.5 inches, and we're running a 1.1 inch width, which is actually pretty slim for a firearm like this. It is a 28.2 ounce weight, and this is a 17 round capacity, so 17 plus 1, you will get 18 rounds in the firearm. It's a nice looking firearm for the package. This is again their budget end. I was able to pick this firearm up with the mags in the case for under $300. It is made in Turkey, so it's another import. It's a CZ75 clone, and I'll pull out my CZ75 SB01 Tactical so we can kind of look at these side by side later in the review. Now as we dive into the features on this firearm, this is a safety model. As you can see right there, the red dot goes away when we apply the safety. We go down, the safety is gone. It is a single action trigger, and it also has the double action capabilities there. So if we pull the trigger all the way, you can see it'll go off. And then we have our full reset. You can see it goes all the way out there to reset. And you can see when you have that in the double action that the trigger guard is very small where you get your finger into that slope right there. Now if you do cock the firearm back like so, you can see it pulls the trigger back, and you have a lot more room in this firearm to get your hand in there. So if you have larger hands, bigger mitts, or you're wearing gloves, it's going to be a little easier to get in there. And then if you do have that safety on, you can carry this cocked and locked. It is not a decocker model, so that's very nice. So let's go over that single action trigger reset. So we'll remove the safety. Again, I'll show clear. We are clear. We're going to go ahead. We have that little bit of take up right there. The firearm goes off. Now we'll set reset. See, we've got a little bit of creep. There's some take up there. Tactile reset. Very little mush. Once that resets, you can see there's just that little bit of trigger play, and then you're back on that trigger and firing. As you can see, there are only rear slide serrations on both sides of the firearm, nothing flared out on the rear. So there are no front slide serrations, so you can't press check or anything like that. It does have a nice smooth finish, and the finish does feel good. It feels like it's something that's gonna last. They have it branded there with their Sar USA, laser engraved here. So it is a nice looking firearm for that $300 range. But what it lacks is some stippling. As you can see, this is all very smooth. Nowhere you can really put your hands. Nowhere you can really get a little bit more grip up here when you are, you know, maybe in some wet conditions or slippery conditions. The side panels here do not have a lot of texture, as you can see. It's very light engraving there. The only real texture is here on the back strap. You can see they've got some little pyramids, some good serrations here. And then you can see those are also on the front, the little pyramids here, and the serrations right there. So not a ton of texture on here. It gets pretty smooth here. We do have that gap here where, you know, it takes up the back where you funnel your mags in and out. It's not a fluted mag well or anything like that. Pretty plain Jane, basic CZ75 clone. What is really generous is this cut here. It has a nice cut under the trigger and has a very nice cut here, high beaver tail, allowing you to get a really nice purchase on this firearm. Really get your hand wrapped up tight. As you can see, I can get a very easy full grip on here. Tons of space for my support hand on this firearm. The other thing that's really, really nice about this is the sights. The sights on this firearm are the 3 white dot. They are not night sights, so they're not going to light up or glow, but again, they can be replaced. They are just dovetail sights in the rear. You can replace the rear sight, but it does not look like you can replace that front sight. There is no serrations on the top here to reduce glare, so there is an issue there. So as we continue to go over the firearm, we're going to look at the sights. Now you do have a set of nice 3 dot white sights on there. It's a very tight tolerance in the rear there, from here to the front sight ring, or the front sight post, I'm sorry. Very comfortable, very easy to transition target to target as we were out there shooting. We did run the 150 rounds through this, as you guys saw. It worked well, it was very accurate. The trigger feels very comfortable in your hand. It's a nice curved trigger, and you can really get your finger in there and it fits very nicely, very comfortably. It doesn't feel out of place. I know a lot of them are going to the flat trigger. That is something that is out there, but I really do prefer these curved triggers. I have some of them on my other CZs. It's a nice, comfortable firearm to have out there on the range with you. Now, if we want to check some weights, we're going to check some unloaded weights, and then we're also going to simulate one in the mag. Okay, so let's do that. Got our scale here. Our mag is inserted but unloaded. So for an unloaded weight with the mag, we're running 1 pound, 11.9 ounces. And now we're going to load it up and see how that goes. So now that we did the unloaded weight, we're going to put the pistol on there. We're not going to put the mag in. We do have 17 in there, as you can see by there. So there's 17 rounds. And then I'm going to grab one here, simulate one in the chamber. So that would be with 18 rounds fully loaded. We are running 2 pounds, 3.3 ounces. So it's not a super heavy firearm. If you were going to carry this around all day, it wouldn't be terrible. I know if you guys watch the review, the trigger guard is very thick on this right here. And you can see where they've fused these two pieces of plastics together. But the trigger guard's real wide. It does not fit in your standard CZ75 holsters. It does fit, though, in my SPO1, my PO7 holster very easily. So if you were going to run a holster, you'd have to run a PO7 holster. This locked in and functioning great on the range. You guys can check that video out if you'd like. So we went over the weights. I'm going to take these, put them off to the side, and get them out of here. I'm going to unload that mag, and we're going to go and compare it to the CZ75 SPO1 Tactical. Now that I have both of the firearms out, I have my Sar B6, my CZ75 SPO1 Tactical. That is the CZ75 version that I use and shoot, so that's what I have available to me. So we're going to look at them kind of side by side. And again, this one is unloaded, no magazine, nothing in the chamber. The CZ is also unloaded, no mag, spin it around, nothing in the chamber, right? So there are some upgrades and there are some differences. As you can see on this budget end, and again, they make a higher end clone of this. It's going to be very closely related to this. But at the bottom end is where we are with this firearm. But it is, when we had it on the range, a great little firearm. As you can see, if you upgrade, my CZ has the full pick rail, where this one does not. I'm just going to slide these forward to kind of show a little better example. They both have the internal frame rails as you saw, so the slides are very low, very sunken into the frame, gives you lots of purchase. This is going to allow less flex, my CZ75, than this, right? The frame can flex a little bit more on our polymer firearms. Now, if we want to get down into a numbers comparison on these two firearms, we can look, the barrel, remember, on our B6 is 4.5 inches. The barrel on our CZ is 4.6 inches. So you've got 0.1 inch longer of a barrel on the CZ75 right here, the tactical one that I have. Your overall length on here was 8.1, here we're 8.15, so it's slightly longer. Height on this one was 5.5 inches, and the height on my CZ is 5.79 inches. Now width is where they're really going to start to vary, where this one is really slim at 1.1 inches. We pick up the CZ, you can see right there, it's much thicker. It's running a width of 1.46 inches, and then weights where they're really going to differ. The unloaded weight here we have is 28.2 ounces for the B6, and the unloaded weight here is 40.5 ounces. Now remember, this is an all steel firearm. It is definitely more for accuracy, a little bit weight, so it's going to take the recoil a little better. Now the trigger pull, when I had the trigger pull on this one, we have a trigger pull of about 4.5 pounds when we tested it, where my CZ is running everywhere from 3.25 to 3.8 pounds when you pull the trigger. So it's a little bit softer trigger here in the single action mode. Same here, single action trigger pull is that lighter pull. Now this one does have front slide serrations where this one does not. So again, budget, you're going to lose some things that you may want. So you may want to step up a tier as you go through that. Again, no extra grip panels. Grip panels cannot be changed on the B6, where I'm sure if you're familiar with CZ, there are tons of different grip panels. These are original rubberized ones that you get on there, and you can change them to make them thinner or thicker for your hand. Again, this one has the night sights on it. We've got a little bit more of a skeletonized decocker there, where this one, it kind of mimics it, but you can see it's a little bit chunkier, it's a little bit shorter than the CZ one is there that we have right there as a reference. Trigger guard is a little bigger on the CZ, and believe it or not, on the CZ, if you look here, there's no cut up here, where the CZ actually has a nice little cut, make it easier for you to funnel your finger into that firearm. So you're getting a lot of nice features when you upgrade to that CZ, but for the cost, this B6 shot well, it was nice, it was very comfortable in the hand. Now to dive a little bit more into this firearm and get with the features, again, beaver tail is beautiful. The safety is very nice, you cannot rack the slide, right? If it's decocked, okay. If it is decocked like so, and the safety is on, it's not going to allow movement of that slide. So that's a nice little safety feature there. But if it is there and you have this cocked, and then even with the safety on, you are able to unload that firearm if necessary, if you need to clear the chamber. These serrations are very easy to grip. I can grip them left or right-handed. With that, this firearm is also only set up for the right-handed person. You can swap the mag release right here. You can see you can flip that to the other side, but the slide stop slide release, the safety, it is all set up for the right-handed person. It is a very comfortable safety. It's in a very nice spot that you could easily flip it off, flip it on when you're using the firearm. Again, this safety is a little bit nicer because then you can carry this cocked and locked if that's something you want to do. When you draw it, you've just got to sweep down, hit that safety, and it flips on and off very gently, very nicely. I mean, the fit and finish on this gun is actually very nice. It's very comfortable. It's actually very professionally done. And I think that, you know, Sar USA is something that you could consider if you were thinking about, you know, purchasing a firearm. Even for a first firearm, very accurate gun. I was hitting plates anywhere from, you know, 5 yards out to about 35, 40 yards. And I even threw it out after, when I turned the camera off, to about 50 yards, and I could hit my 8-inch steel plate out there, no problem. Now that we're on the table with our Sar B6, we're going to talk about the field strip and disassembly. So the first thing we always want to do is make sure it's not unloaded. So if you do have a magazine in there, again, mine is unloaded. You can see the follower, nothing in the chamber. But if you do get home and it is in this configuration, remember, drop your magazine, make sure it's unloaded, sit that off to the side, then clear your chamber. use your slide lock to push that up. Make sure there's nothing in that chamber, and then you can begin the disassembly process. So this one takes down very similar to our CZs. As you can see right here, there's 2 little dots on the rear of the slide. Now what you'll do is you'll grip those and you'll line them up. And what it is this tab has to come out right here. So if you look on the other side, there's a little push. So this little pin needs pushed out while you're holding it with your other hand. You can use your thumb, you can use the back of the magazine, anything easy just to apply a little force on that while you're holding it. So I always find it pretty easy when I'm disassembling the firearm. I like to grip it like this, get a hold of it with my left hand because I am right-handed, hold it up, match up those dots, and then it's easy for me to flip it over and push this pin out. See how it went flush there? Then I'm able to rotate it back over. And it's okay if it comes out right there. Just grab it, pull it back into battery, or back to those dots. You're able to remove that pin, and that's the pin that holds everything together. That's your slide stop. And then you're able to just disassemble the firearm. Pull that trigger. We have a non-captured recoil spring inside of there on a nice steel rod. So that shows some quality right there. It's not cheap in plastic. We have our tilting barrel right there. And then we have our slide. Again, we have our polymer lower with our safety. You can see all the mechanisms inside for the trigger, for the hammer, everything inside of there. You can see the mag release. At this point, you'd be able to swap the mag release. You can see the internal rails here. Again, we did take this out and shoot it, so it is a little dirty. I'm going to clean it up later today. There are nice stripping cuts on the gun, so this is a time where you could go in, clean up all that gunk, get down there, use a Q-tip or a brush, whatever you prefer, get some of that stuff out of there, and then lubricate the rails up when you get it back together. So you can see here, it's a little bit more complicated to take down than the easy, flip levers that a lot of them are going to, but this is a tried and true design, and it is very, very well done. Again, it's a nice metal recoil spring assembly, holds it on there for us. And then we have our barrel. Nice little feed ramp. Let me wipe that off for you guys. See if we got a good polished feed ramp. She's a little dirty when I had it out there. So we do have a nice polished feed ramp underneath all that. As you can see, we put our 150 rounds through this. So it did get a little gunked up. We had no problems. We ran all the different ammunitions through it. It actually was a very nice barrel. It shot very accurately for the firearm and for the price. And then we have our slide. We do have our typical slide cuts up in there, a little bit for weight reduction where the barrel lines up in there. So again, you can see everything here for the slide. Very nice fit, very nice finish on this. It's very smooth. It's done very well. It doesn't look very cheap. Only time will tell how much it holds up to the shooting abuse. But it is, right off the bat, I'm very impressed. I got this out the door at Nick's Bullseye Firearm, our local gun shop, for under $300, and that's including tax and transfer and everything. It'll be different depending on the state you're in. So again, assembly, if we have everything like this, we can go ahead, put our barrel back in. Careful with that non-captured recoil spring. Make sure you get it in there. You just have to line it up with the tab here. You can see there's a little indentation. Make sure you get that all the way in there. Oh, I can't do it unless I roll it on its back. Make sure it looks like that. And then we have our frame rails here and here. Our slide rails that go into our frame. So we have our internal frame rails. Make sure the hammer is cocked. And then we're able to get this back in there. There we go. Give a little bit of a wiggle. So she's almost back together. What we got to do again, line those dots up right here. They're not painted on here, but you can see there's a little indentation here, a little one here in that very last slide serration. You're able to then drop your pin in, give it a little push. Okay, now we are back together. What we want to do is make sure we rack it. Make sure we point it in a safe direction. Again, showing clear. Point it in a safe direction, which is going to be down for me, and just function check. So you can buy some snap caps or things like that, or they have kind of bullets that you can put in here so you're not dropping your hammer on nothing for dry fire. But dry firing, when you're cleaning, isn't going to kill you until you get something like that. So that's a nice dive into the SAR. As you can see, it is a little dirty in there. I'm going to clean this up in a minute. And we're going to lube it up and continue on with our review. We're definitely going to get 500 rounds through this one. If you like the content or you like this, go ahead and check out some of the links below. Hit that like and share. Maybe the subscribe if you want to. And we appreciate your time.
Thanks for watching our video. Make sure to hit that notification bell
so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. If you liked the video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
Comment below. We want to hear from you. Get more content from Family Firearm Reviews by joining our Patreon and checking out the links in the description.